Welcome to this week's episode. This week we had the pleasure of speaking with Tory and Teri Smith.
Yes, a great conversation, a Christian couple that prayed for each other and then got married 1 month after meeting. You don't want to miss the conversation.
See what God can do, baby?
All right. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. This power couple is building stronger marriages one day at a time. Talking about real issues on love, relationships, and marriage longevity. Let's break down the barriers and engage in healthy conversation with your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie. Take a seat and buckle up because things are about to get real.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Loving Beyond the I Do podcast.
With your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie.
That's me. All right, so who do we have with us in the studio this week, Jason?
We have Teri and Tory with us. Welcome from Love and Black. Welcome to the show, guys.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. So glad to be here.
Yes, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, we like to say that we are marriage and relationship therapists by day, and by night we're media personalities.
Okay.
Hence the Love and Black with Tory and Teri. So we have a radio show, television show, and my wife has a book. So we're doing a lot of different things in that particular space.
Wonderful. I love to hear it. Love making marriage work. All right.
For sure.
And so pretty much that means that you guys are spending 24 hours together, right?
Yep. Like 29, 30, 40, something like that.
All right. So how long have you guys been married?
You know, we have over 40 years of marital experience. So we'll explain what that means later.
I was getting ready to say, what does that mean? 40-some years of marital experience. Okay, so
we've both been married before, and
okay,
you know, and
we're a blended family.
Blended family and all.
We have 6 kids and 6 grandchildren.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Man.
Yeah, our oldest is 32 and our youngest is 22.
Okay. So basically, are you guys empty nesters yet?
Oh, yeah, we love it.
Okay, because I'm like, because they're of age doesn't mean they're out of the house.
Right.
So, we want to make, we love it too.
Older, but yeah.
So you have 40 years of marital experience together, but how long have you guys been married?
We've been married about 7 years.
Okay. Wonderful.
And so closer to 7 and 6.5.
Okay, so tell us about that. Tell us about the whole meeting, courtship, let's decide to get married thing.
Yeah, just what we were talking about, just what we were talking about before we got started. You guys said you got married in a month. Is that a month from the time that you actually met each other?
Mm-hmm.
We were very intentional.
Okay.
And twinsy, as you can see.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about that.
So what we did was, I'm just going to cut to the Reader's Digest version. We met on Facebook, right? And I was in Maryland. She was in California.
Sleepless in Seattle. When you think of the map, California and Maryland, so it's actually Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah. So one morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, I'm hearing all these dings on my phone while I'm asleep, and like, what's going on here? So I wake up and I look and I see all of these messages. Teri, like your picture. Teri, like your picture. And I was like, who is Teri, right? So I'm like looking at all these messages, and I go on to Facebook. And prior to, even though we were Facebook friends, we didn't have any interaction with each other.
Okay.
When I first friended her, I don't know, it was something in my spirit when I saw her face. It was something in my spirit that just said, that's her, right? Don't know why that happened or whatnot. But then from there, we hadn't, I think that was in June or July when we had friended each other. And now we're in November. And I'll let her pick it up from here.
So this is what really happened, okay?
Right, I was going to ask you the real version.
Well, this is the version, and women know, so.
Right.
So I had just come off a breakup. And my birthday was the week before. So I had come off of a breakup and actually broke up on my birthday. And I was good, but then I was done. I was really just done. And so I was getting dressed in my closet one day, and I just, out of nowhere, getting ready for work, I just started bawling. And I said, God, you know what? I'm done. I have tried to bring 2 brothers to you, and I'm just done.
So you were done with relationships, done with the whole dating?
I was done with relationships. I was just done.
Right.
I literally told God, I said this. I said, you're going to have to come down in sandals yourself and bring and present this person if you want me with somebody, because I'm Teri, I'm done. And so I started calling out family members that had gone on to heaven. And I called out my grandfather, my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin, who were father and son that had passed away within 3 months of each other, which was a double whammy for our family.
Wow.
And so I called out to them because I know, of course, they're dear to me, and I know they know me. So I'm like, you're in heaven, tell God I'm a good person.
Like they got a connection that you
she's
know.
in the
You got a
lifelines for
connection
sure.
with God, right? She's like, hey, if you see God, can you tell him like I've been trying to call him?
And you know what the thing was? More so, not even so they could pick some, tell God to pick someone, but just more or less, I don't deserve this, and I'm a really good servant. So why is this happening, kind of thing? Like, let me know, because I'm done. Like, I'm hanging up the phone. You just let him know. Talk to me. So from there, I get dressed, because I'm one that's a firm believer in cry for 5 minutes to get a plan. So I let it go. I said what I said, I let it go. So that night, I believe it was that night. It might have been the next day, but God normally gets back to me in 24, 48 hours. So I am an Oakland, Las Vegas Raider fan. So I had on Victoria's Secret Raider shorts, a white wife beater, hair up in a high ponytail. I'm in bed. It's midnight. Into my day. Pick up my phone, and I notice yours truly. So I'm like, who is this guy? And when did we become friends? Because I wasn't active on Facebook like that all the time. And so normally I would have a backlog of all these people for requests.
Okay.
So I would vet them and let them through 5, 10 at a time or whatever, when I had time. Because Facebook, you get on there for a second and be like, oh, I've been on here 20 minutes. No.
Right.
Yes.
So I saw him and I'm like, when did I let this guy through? I don't remember this. And it was a scripture, right? So I was like, well, that's nice, right? So I go look, and I see he had like 300 friends. He sings in the choir. I saw him sing. Nice guy. He's a cool guy. When did we become friends, right? Because I'm trying to see if he liked something. I'm like doing a little investigating. And so I was liking the stuff that I saw, the scripture, blah, 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 blah. That's why it was 3 a.m. in the morning his time. I close my phone. I go to bed. I wake up the next morning. It's like a Tuesday. That's not my MO, baby.
She already admitted that you can lose track of time, right?
Right.
So, I need for her to face that reality that she thought she was on for 5 minutes, but she was probably on.
I really was on for 20 because I was like, who is this guy and how did you get in?
Right.
I don't remember letting you in.
So was he a friend of a friend? Or
you know what? So check it out. This is what it was. So we found out because we started, of course we started talking about this thing. Right. On Facebook, they'll have like this strip, like a film strip.
Yeah, right, yes. Right. So people,
friends of friends, somebody you should know, da, 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 da. My cousin was Mrs. Texas. And he was friends with her. And so that's probably how, algorithm, how I got in there. So when he saw my picture go across the thing, that's when he said it was like, that's her. He said something in his ear said that's her. And so that's her becomes the thing as we continue to talk about this.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back in Maryland, and I told you guys while I was giving the Reader's Digest version, and you see she gave backstory on her end and all that.
Because I need to paint the picture.
Anyway, I'm going to continue on with the Reader's Digest version so our listeners will be like, what? Anyway, by now it's like 5 in the morning. I had to get up anyway because I normally got up at 5, go to the gym and all, and get ready for work and all. But I turned into a detective from 3 to 5 because I'm like, I'm going through. And I'm going,
all these detectives in this relationship.
Tell me what you said. When you thought it was me 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's why. Well, I thought I said that, but when I saw her picture of who it was, I said, "That's her." Right. And again, remember I said,
that's the
her.
one. Yep.
But again, I said that's her, and that's funny you say that, Jason, because even in counseling, right? I asked guys, I said, "Hey, how did you know she was the one?" And we all, except for one guy in like 6 years of counseling, only one guy said something differently. Everybody else, we've all said the same thing. It's just something when I first saw her, I knew that I was going to marry her. I knew I was going to be with her.
Without a question.
Without a question. So didn't know anything about her. So
right.
like I said, I'm playing detective because she didn't give, other than pictures, she didn't give a lot of detail on her Facebook page.
That's right.
So I'm pasting together pictures and, like a little CSI thing on the wall, right?
You're doing some serious
got the
work.
Strings connected and everything.
So it looks like she's in Cali. Let's see, I put the red mark here. The Bay Area looks like, because everything is like San Francisco or Raiders or whatnot. So I'm figuring it out, and then I go to Google and I'm trying to cross-reference things, and boom, finally get a hit, and then I'm going through all this. So now I'm like, okay, got a real name, got a match and everything. So boom, 5 o'clock. Now I'm like typing up this little message to send to her, and I'm getting ready to hit the send button. I'm like, whoa, I don't want her to think I'm up this early in the morning on Facebook.
It's all about appearances, right?
Right.
Intentional. Anyway.
Hey, I got you.
We got to think, wait a minute, if I send this at 5 o'clock, I'm going to seem a little desperate. I got to make it
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you. I don't want to say that D word, but yeah.
But that's all what we think. That's not what the other person thinks. So if you had have gotten it at 5 o'clock, would you have thought he was a little desperate?
Well, first of all, I was super sweet. But if I would have seen it, I would have at that, because I'm gonna look at what time, right?
Right.
I would have thought, creep. I get them all the time, and that's when they come in.
I had 100 text messages. What do you think I felt, right?
You had to get up and do some investigating.
But you sent it at 3. But you started liking his pictures at 3 a.m. You didn't think he was gonna think creep? Stalker?
I wasn't. The thing is I wasn't even thinking, because, like I said, I'm not on my phone that much. So chances are, I wasn't even. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't thinking that deep. I wasn't liking him for him to see that I liked him. I just liked what I liked. Don't remember what all I liked, but I was done with it.
She didn't realize Facebook was sending a message.
But I wasn't trying to get with him like that for him to think of me a creep or whatever. I didn't. Remember, I'm done. Remember, I'm the one that was done. Right?
So when you were liking his pictures, what were your thoughts? Were you like, "Oh, he's kind of cute. Maybe I should get to."
There were scriptures, and so I was aligning with the Christian in us.
Okay.
And there were just things that just like authentically and organically, like, this is nice. Like him and his daughter, stuff like that. Like things that were wholesome that resonated with me. I liked them, like I do if I'm just scrolling on a timeline. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Things like that. So I didn't think past. There was no motive. Put it that way.
Okay. Tori's like, sure it wasn't. Sure it wasn't.
I received that. But like I said,
you'll see.
As a guy, and you get a beautiful woman liking your pictures, so
right.
You're gonna think she's interested unless she's
exactly. Right. It's just right. It's just natural. Right.
No, I was intrigued though, because again, I'm like, how did you get, and didn't know if that conversation would ever happen.
Right. So how did he become my friend? Who is this guy? And I've never noticed him. We've never interacted. Right. Yeah. But from a guy's perspective, right. Just and that's
many pictures and stuff. Yeah, but I know she's interested in me.
But it also goes back to when we talk about how when a lady and a man they meet each other, right? Mm-hmm. And the woman is thinking one thing, and the man is thinking another. Like you go on 3 dates, and the woman's thinking, "Oh, we're an item."
We're about to get married,
right? And the man's thinking, "I just want to."
I just took you to Red Lobster.
That's it.
Right. Exactly.
It's just one date.
It's perspective. Exactly. Like you said, when a woman likes your picture, you're thinking one thing, and she's just like, "Oh wow, this is really nice." As a guy, him and his daughter, this is pretty wholesome. Oh, he's into the choir. So it's just perspective. How our perspectives are totally different from a man's perspective than a woman's perspective.
Yeah. So anyway, I had this message already crafted, right? Getting ready to hit the send button. Didn't want her to think I was desperate, like you said, Tina. Didn't want her to think I was a creep or anything.
Right.
So I said, I'm playing out. So that's okay. So she has a daughter. It looks like she's a preteen, so she probably has to drop her off at school or at least get her ready.
Right.
She might be up about this time, and then I'm doing the carrying the one and all this stuff.
Right. Trying to get the exact
You're doing
time.
that relationship
So
math.
what time is it? So you're thinking what time is a good time?
We 3 hours ahead.
Right.
So,
I want to be in that friend zone. I don't want to be the creeper zone. I don't want to be I took too long. I want to be in that one. This is the right time zone, right there, right spot.
First of all, let me preface this. I had never done anything like that before, right? And I had never calculated to the exact moment on my clock or my watch that this was I was gonna hit the send button at this time right now.
Right.
So that's just something that just happened.
What was the crafted message? May we ask that?
Yeah, it was like, I recall saying, hey, I'm very flattered by, the likes on my photos. What? I did, I said, I'm very flattered, blah, 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 and I forget what else I said, but we kept the message. But anyway, a few moments, now I'm like clock watching. Like every second is ticking, but I'm going, okay, she ain't got it yet,
Right. You waiting for the response.
Right, I need a reply now.
So get a reply, and within
if you had sent it at 5 o'clock, you'd have got that reply by 7. Because she'd have been like, wait a minute, right? See? She'd have been like, why were you texting me, right?
She'd have been like, wait a minute, I'm not going to hit him back. No. Well, I'm intrigued. No, I'm not. Yeah, okay, I'll hit him back right now. So anyway, she responded within an hour, which was cool. And we started talking over the thing. So in response to my I'm flattered, she said, no, then she tried to be all uppity.
Let me say what I said.
She tried to be all uppity. Just because I said I'm flattered. I mean, that's...
So I'm bitter,
Jason,
right?
what's the appropriate thing?
Right.
It is. But you were. I mean, she liked that many photos.
But she's like, I wasn't even trying to do that. I'm hurting. I'm not even caring about if you're flattered or not, right?
Well,
That's where you were.
So I was just, again, it was like, okay, you're flattered, so you missed the point. And so, and then of course, he's not going to know. So I said to him, he said, I'm flattered. I said, it's not you, it's the Christ I saw in you.
Okay.
I was like, Christ, that's my boy. Yeah.
But out the gate, I was letting him know, like, no nonsense. I'm not that. So keep it moving if that's what you think this is, because it's not that.
Well, that's what I'm supposed to think.
I don't know. But all I'm saying is I was making myself clear of what this is and what this is not going to be.
Right.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, liking all my photos.
I think she was sending mixed signals.
Yeah, it was definitely
that part.
It was actually a lot of mixed signals.
I think. Right. I don't know. I might have to give this one with the guys. I don't know. I think you were hurting, but you were asking God, so God was kind of working through you, so you didn't kind of really see the message that you were giving. Right. It was kind of setting the stage for what was to be.
Tina, you ever heard that?
I didn't look at any of that. Again, I forgot. I wasn't linking my prayer, because that wasn't a prayer. That was me having a conversation with my father. So it was a confrontation, but it wasn't a prayer. And when I told my family, hey, let them know, because I'm gonna get, I don't know. So I wake up the next morning, and I grab my phone, and I see this notification, right? So I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, that guy. It's almost like the tooth fairy, you know. The tooth fairy, you got your money on your hotel. So I was like, oh, that guy. And so that's when he said, I'm flattered, blah, blah, blah. And I said, it's not you, it's the Christ I saw in you. And so he's like, this was what did it for me. He said, oh, how long have you been in your faith walk? I've been in my faith walk, blah, 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 blah. All be known to God or Christ. And I was like, that's the lingo. All right. Now I'm interested.
All right. So now, hold on, baby. So now I got to give a little backstory myself, since she gave the backstory and everything.
All right.
Just
it's layers, y'all.
It's layers. So prior to me meeting my wife, I was, in and out of relationships. I gotten divorced, and then just wasn't finding, the right type of woman. Right.
Right.
And so I prayed to God. I didn't scream at God or anything like that.
You didn't threaten him, right?
I didn't threaten him or anything like that. I just said, hey, G, you know what's up, to, right? So him and I were having a conversation. I said, you know what? I'm looking for a Proverb 31. And that's what I set my sights on, right?
Okay.
And wasn't finding, and I'm not looking for a perfect person because there's no perfect person, but I was looking for someone that displays the fruits of the Spirit of God, right? So wasn't finding it anywhere. And then it's so funny, I tell this story, but I used to sing and everything, and
you'd be singing in the choir. That's another picture I like.
Yep.
But anyway, I would date. When I say date, hey, we probably go out a couple times. Hey, you want to go to church with me? I'm singing,
right,
whatever. And so this one lady, she was like, hey, you've been inviting all these women to, here you dating around and stuff. How can you never ask me out? And I said, well, I'm looking for a particular type of woman. And she said, what's that? I said, a Proverb 31. And she said, what's a Proverb 31? I said, if you don't know, you ain't the one.
There you go.
So fast forward, right, back to where we were, and we're still on the message, and we haven't spoken yet, so we're still on the message. And then what got it for me was, we're having a good time writing, and now I want to talk to her. So I was like, hey, you can call me anytime. And I sent her my number, and I'm like, as soon as I hit the send button, I'm like, why did I do that? Why didn't I ask her for her number, right? I was just totally backwards. So anyway,
couldn't take it back. Oh, dang, you could have back.
I already hit send, but before I could get that thought out of my mind, really, and she's a fast typer. So she says to me, no, as a Proverb 31, I prefer this. And she sent me her number, right? And I didn't see the number. All I saw was,
so it was a
Proverb 31. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus.
Yep. Prayers answered.
Okay.
Well, he answered my prayer. It took a little longer than 48 hours, but and then we started talking, and the next is history from there.
Yeah, we talked for 72 hours straight. That night, that was a Friday night, we talked, and we just basically bled on one another. It's like, because when you're older, it's like, I don't have time for this.
Who's old? Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't have time for this. It's like, I have been through it. I have gone through this, that, and the other. And it's not like one-upping, but it's like, hey, check this out. I've been through blah, blah, blah. And we were each other's confidant. It wasn't a romantic thing. It was a brother and sister in Christ. Like,
we were feeling each other.
But the thing was that I've let on him, like, I'm not about any nonsense. I don't know you, man. I may not talk to you, see you again. I got nothing to lose here. Nothing.
Right.
But this is what I'm not going to do. This is what I want, what I need, and what I'm not going to do. And he was the same way. We both, but it wasn't a threatening type of thing. It was just again, I'm done. So either this is going to be the real thing, or go big or go home.
Yeah.
And so we were matching up. And we talked all night. He had this thing at a wedding. I had to be at a leadership conference. So we just got to start getting dressed, still talking. We never went to sleep, And so I was on my...
Say one thing. Sure. So my wife's point, right? We were talking about bleeding on each other and everything. When we're doing our counseling, one of the lessons that we teach in the very first session, right, is knowing what your deal breakers are, knowing, what qualities you're looking for, what's your ideal marriage. And people don't go into relationships or marriages thinking, okay, this is my ideal relationship. This is what, I'm dating. This is what I want to see in a person. This is how we want to interact.
That vision.
And then, that vision. So we were putting together a vision. We were not knowing that we were going to be married, 28 days later, but, but we were, like we said at first, we were very intentional about what we were doing. And because we had both come out of bad relationships and all, and we just, we just couldn't find what was for us, right? Our soul counterparts. We weren't finding that, and 3,000 miles away, who knows? Yeah.
Right. And you wasn't wasting any more time. You were just going to get to the point and just say, hey, this is what it's all about. And you know what? When you find the one, you can be that honest with them, and you can be yourself.
or when you've gone through the nonsense, right? When you've taken the time to go through, okay, I took a chance on this. That's not what I want. This is not what I'm looking for. When you kind of, like you said, not only the vision, but you know what's your deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting too old, or this is not what I'm really about.
Right.
And so finding someone. So you guys talked. And so when did you actually meet up and see each other?
So funny story with that one also. So she says she didn't want to get catfish, and I didn't want to get catfish either.
Right.
That's right, because she was already hurt. She was already done. And if you had a catfish there, she might have hunt you down and just
that would have been it. Yeah.
Right.
So you need to find out.
So check this out, you guys. So we so that morning, and these are pivotal points. That morning, I go to the leadership conference. Now, mind you, my dear friend, she was like a little sister. She managed the bookstore. Her husband was armor bearer, a pastor. She managed the bookstore. So she and I were together like this. And his best friend, they were like this, and his best friend's birthday is the same day as mine. He was supposed to hook up with his best friend that night to celebrate. He wasn't answering the phone. Neither one of us answered the phone. And so I'm driving to the church, and she's like, hey, she called me, and she said, I called you all last night. I'm like, who's this guy? She's like, I leave you for 24 hours and you missed me. Wow.
Right.
I tell her, so we're literally in the parking lot of the church, walking to each other, still on the phone, just so excited. And so I'm like, oh my God, I got to check out this guy. I said, but he told me to get this book. So I need you to open up the bookstore. She's like, we're closed today. We got to do it in the dark. So we sneak into the bookstore. It's dark in there. She's behind the counter and she's like, okay, what's the name of the book? And I'm like, I forgot. I'm going to call him. Don't say anything. So she's like, okay. So I call him. He's like, hey, Stanley, hey. I'm like, what's the name of that book? He's like, Kingdom Woman by Tony Evans. So she's like,
right.
And just the glow of the computer, right? She's like, it's backward. I said, oh, it's backward. He goes, well, what's your address? I'll send it to you. And I'm like,
right.
Tory, good move. Man, that is good. That's a good move.
He's looking at me and I'm like,
yeah.
You don't have to look for it.
Yeah, so I tell him, no, I'm giving them the theatrics of how it was.
Yeah.
Picture it in their head. So I give it to him. He's like, okay, it'll be there on Monday. And so she's just like, and I'm like, and I'm looking at her, I know, because she's born like 3 days before me. So I know she's about to blow. I said, okay, well, enjoy the wedding. Okay. He's like, okay, I'll call you.
Right.
Okay. As soon as we hang up, she's like, that's your man. And so we go to the leadership conference. I don't know what notes I took. I was probably making hearts and doodling. I was like, totally, we were just percolating, so excited. So anyway, that day passed. We're still talking.
Meanwhile, back in Maryland, I'm in the car stand.
That's
right. Oh, the wedding. Next day.
So the next day, it's Sunday. And I had spent the night over at my girlfriend's house, our kids, all together. So I didn't go to church. And so Sunday, he hits me after church. And he's like, I was falling asleep in church. Go ahead, honey.
But I was texting her, too. I think while I was in church. I was like, I got something to tell you. So,
he was like, we're on Ephesians 5, I was sleeping.
Yeah. I'm sitting here.
Dozing. Because we've been on the phone.
Like, what's wrong with you? And his girl kept me up, man.
Right.
But anyway, I'm nodding out, and then all of a sudden, remember, keep in mind, for 72 hours, we've been talking about relationships, marriage, and everything. And all of a sudden, the pastor talks, go to Ephesians 5 and 20, and I'm like, what? And, because they talk about the alignment, Jesus, God, Jesus, the husband, wife, and the children, right? I'm like, wow, and I'm like ready. I'm like, she ain't gonna believe this, right? All these, and the reason I say that because all these things are aligning for us.
Aligning,
yeah.
And everything is just easy,
Well, that's because God is as instant as we are.
Yeah,
God was waiting on you guys.
Hey,
He was waiting for you to get out of your own way.
And immediately, that's what that's what we believe from him. So anyway, as soon as we got out of church, I'm talking to her. Now she's like, okay, we got to see each other. I ain't getting catfish.
Yes, I got to see you. I'm not getting catfish, so I'm not.
Right, that's right. Smart move.
It's already 72 hours of my time not doing it. So he's like, okay, well, I can come there. I said, no, you can come here.
Because they already know your address, so.
I forgot about that, right?
Matter of fact, just open up the window. Look outside.
Right, exactly. How would that have been? Exactly.
So yeah, I was like, you can't come here with that girl. So he said, okay, well, come and see me. And I'm like, okay. So he calls. He's like, he's like, you're talking about attention. He's like, let's call the airline right now. Let's book it. So he calls the airline. So we're talking, and we're talking to her, and he's like, what day are you gonna come? I don't know, baby. What day are you gonna? And she's like, but she's loving us. The reservation is just loving us, right? So then she's like, okay, I need the last 4 of your social, and I'm like.
Right. They're gonna one of those private. He can get all your information, ain't he? He got your address, your phone number, now your social security number. You were definitely getting catfish. No.
So I give it to her because I'm just like, oh, right. And he's like, I got something to tell you. So we booked the flight. I'm going, within a week or so. And he calls me back right after, and he's like, we have the same last 3 of our social.
Wow.
The same numbers. Yeah. Not transposed.
In sequence.
Yeah.
Except for that 1 digit that's different.
So once again.
I was like, okay, all right. Yeah.
I'm like, once again, God was like, okay, I told you I would hook you up,
So of course we still stay on the phone every night until I go. And he would text me like 9 days in a wake up, 8 days in a wake up. And so he had even gone and had taken a picture, which Tina will totally get with this, had taken a picture of the creamer aisle at the grocery store, asking me what type of creamer do I like in my coffee. Was totally preparing for your arrival. And he had made me, because of he had gotten a Tiffany colored mug.
Because some shit like Tiffany.
Well, I just wore a lot of Tiffany. But anyway, he had stenciled on it on one side her, and on the other side Proverbs 31. My girlfriend was like, "You got this brother doing crafts?"
I know. I can't draw. If you told me, Jason, to draw a straight line on paper, it would come out like heartbeats, right? I can't draw. I have no creative bone in my body as far as art is concerned, And I'm getting the stencils and the Sharpies and all this stuff,
That was cute.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I met Tina that night, I ended up painting her fingernails.
Right. So his friend was like,
dude, my friend was like, man, what are you doing, man? You don't do that. You gonna be. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing it though.
Hey, we need to have a grown man hug.
Yeah, but we were the opposite. Jason was coming off a breakup.
Yeah.
And he was just.
And I talked about my ex-girlfriend. I talked about my ex-girlfriend the whole time.
Night. But go ahead. So you guys met.
She was like, go ahead. I don't want to hear about that no more.
It's not about our story. It's about your story.
Yeah, so anyway, I ended up going, and it was cute because at the end of, I flew there, and for one, I'm a former flight attendant from years ago. For United Airlines. Okay, United, there's your plug. But
right, exactly.
Flying places like that I've never been was no big deal, right? But with this, by this time, this is my man. We're on the phone. I'm his woman, and totally, and day in and day out, and just very intentional, and just looking very different than anything I had ever been in, because this is a Christian, equally yoked relationship, right?
Yes.
And so it's totally next level. So I'm going, and I'm good on the plane, and I'm sitting next to these 2 little ladies that are just so cute, talking to them the whole flight. But then when we start to descend, I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot. I'm coming here to do this, right? Because I'm
right.
It's on. So I told the ladies, I was like, you guys can check this out. This is what I'm here. And they're like, oh my goodness. So they're walking through.
Okay, wait, Terry, we didn't get that. You said it so long. You told the ladies what?
I said, I'm here to meet this guy. Because we talked about everything else under the sun, the whole flight. And I didn't disclose that. I said, I'm actually here to meet this guy. And they're like, oh my goodness. Oh. So they're like, we're coming with you, so they're walking through the airport, kind of keeping a little distance, but they're walking, and they're cute, they're tiny little old ladies. And so I see this guy sitting near baggage claim with a bouquet of flowers. Mm-hmm. So, we greet, and they're on, so it's the carousel for the baggage, right?
Meanwhile, I'm going, hey, it's me. I'm the guy. Hey, what are you doing?
Right.
It was him. So we're standing on one side of the carousel, and we're totally just, just cupcaking. They're on the other side, and they're like, really, really
You know the wink and the gun?
Yeah. So he brought me chicken piccata, chicken lemon pepper. Yeah. So
I just had a long flight, and so I had a meal prepared in the car for her and everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
nice.
So yeah, of course the time change. It was dinner time at that time. So yeah.
I still do stuff like that, by the way.
Yeah.
Whatever you do to get them, that's what you do to keep them.
That's right. Well, don't stop.
That's
don't
right.
Stop. That's right.
So was this your first time actually seeing one another?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you?
We did. Well, no, we never did FaceTime.
We never did FaceTime.
So what did you think about each other when you first laid eyes on each other?
I was like, man.
They were just excited to meet each other. They was all giddy and excited. They're like, she's coming. He's gonna be here.
This is real.
I did say I hit the jackpot. I was like, she was everything that I had envisioned, and not just envisioned, but I mean, even if she looked like a mud duck, I mean, because we had developed this relationship,
right.
It was too late to turn back at that point.
And it's not about the physical looks anyway.
It wasn't about the physical.
Right.
Yeah,
it's deeper.
Because we really connected spirit to spirit. And we were so, and we still have been. We're super affectionate. So we're just always just holding hands.
Well, both our love languages are physical touch.
Physical touch.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
So anyway, we had a whirlwind weekend. I had my own bathroom, so I was able to be modest in my dress and stuff because we did do the weight. We wanted to do everything totally right.
Okay.
So we went to church on Sunday. I met his mom, and then left, and he came back the next month, and he was coming to see me. So he's coming to see me, and my daughter's like, I'm going to the airport with you. I'm like, come on, let's go. Like, who is this guy, right? So we go, we pick him up from the airport, we come back, and
you forgot about how they thought we was crazy. So
we're music buffs, so we love music. And so it was prior to that, maybe about a couple of days before, we were playing music, and he's like, we're on the phone, and I'm like, how about this? Have you heard that? So it was like this war.
You were playing these music games. It's like always think they know more songs than you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you know that song. Well, they always play it on the radio all across the country.
Right. We were flipping back and forth, and my daughter's just standing in my doorway like, she was literally lost. I'm like, wait a minute, have you heard this by Marvin Gaye? We're really going in.
Right.
So anyway, she comes with me to the airport, and we're talking in the car, and everything is just authentic. Mm-hmm. There's no pomp and circumstance. There's no, 10 on the 2. Totally authentic. So we come back, and we were in my room because my room was hooked up. It's the master, right? So I got music, I got it all, right? So we're sitting on my bed, and we're talking, we're playing music. So all of a sudden, Tina, he grabs me like that Clark Gable grab and starts going in and was proposing to me and asking me to marry him.
Frankly, my dude.
Oh my God. The bubble above my head, when you think of cartoons, the bubble above my head is like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Remember everything.
You're trying to capture that moment.
But so did you expect it or no? No. Okay.
Not at all. And so I'm just so in the moment, like, yes. Because it was that. It was so romantic. It wasn't rehearsed. It was not this machismo, bravado. Mm-hmm. It was sincere. And it was like, I love you. I want you to be my wife. I mean, from what I can remember, the verbiage and stuff, but it was that sincere. And so I was like, yes. So the next morning,
yes. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, Tory, were you a little nervous when you were going, when you were setting this all up? Because, we got to prepare for things.
Obviously, he was nervous. Yeah. He couldn't even wait. He couldn't even wait. They was just sitting on the bed. He couldn't even wait.
Did it play out the way that you thought it was going to play out in your mind? Because in our mind, we know how this thing's going to go.
All right. It's like, damn, that sounded better. So I knew what I didn't know. I mean, I just knew going there, and one of my best friends, she was talking about, they share the same birthday, he was like, man, don't come back married, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, you know what? I think she's the one. I think I am going to come back married. I think I am going to ask her. So I was thinking about it, and I mean, just preparing. I mean, it wasn't even anything to prepare. Like I said, we had been preparing for, for what we wanted to do, what we were looking for in a relationship and things like that. And we were, I can't say that word enough.
Yeah, we were
intentional. I mean, we were very intentional because, again, I mean, we know what we've been through. I mean, I used to be out there. I know what I want in a woman. I know what I didn't want in a woman.
Right.
And I say in our therapy sessions, I say, you know what? Nobody gets married to want to fuss, fight, and knock each other side the head and things. That's not what it's for. But that's par for the course for marriage.
For some couples, yeah.
And I don't want to do that, So, and she didn't want to do it either. And we were talking, I mean, God had it all planned down to where we are now and what we're doing. We're known globally. I mean, from a counseling standpoint, we even have clients in Africa and Germany. But from a media standpoint, we have, not clients, but we have exposure everywhere.
Right.
The neat thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, David, but the neat thing about what I experienced in this dating, the phase of our dating was our conversation. He wasn't talking underneath my clothes. It was, our conversation was, so maybe this is where we're going to live. I'm figuring I want to move back home because my family members, some of them are getting older. I want to be there. I've been gone for years. Like everything was methodical. We'll probably look in this area to purchase a home, blah, blah, blah. It was a man being a man and leading. And I saw the Lord of my home in this man. So of course I'm like, because I'm a Christian woman. I'm a Proverbs 31. So iron sharpens iron and also recognizes other iron. So I'm like, I'm with this, so I'm right along with them because it's like, that's the kind of woman I am. So yeah, let's do this. Let's plan.
So you guys you guys are where? You're in Texas,
Houston.
right?
Yep. We're in Texas now.
Okay, so when did you move? So when did you move from California and you were over in where?
Okay, so we'll finish the story. I was just trying to give you some tidbits.
Okay. I can see that. Okay.
So what I was saying about us being intentional, right? We were even talking about, hey, we should start a marriage ministry when we get married to teach people, like what we're going through right now, to teach people, to look for certain qualities and things like that in a person before they just go out and do these things, right? So we had no idea that having a marriage ministry in a church would lead to where we are now. We had no idea and that's all we had planned. We didn't even stop. We didn't even go past that.
Yeah, we had no idea. It was like, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah,
we didn't.
And that's why I was telling you, Jason, when we were talking before, I was like, I said, God gave me a vision and said, I want you to take what you guys are doing in marriage ministry and apply it, outside of that. And that's what we were doing. And it just blew up from there. But it's nothing but God. And Tina, when you were talking about, we said suddenlies and immediately, right? God won't allow us to get settled in any one of these stops that we've made along the way. It's like, come here, I got something else for you.
Yeah, let's go this way. I'm on this way now. Let's go this way,
yeah. So, having said all that, it was a no-brainer that why let grass grow under my feet?
Right.
Right. I have her right here. Let's do this. Right. So I asked her that night.
So you asked her, did you guys get married so when did you get married?
The next day, he makes breakfast for the family. And so he's like, where's the nearest jewelry store? And my daughter's like, about to spit up her orange juice. Like, we go to the jewelry store and he's like, what do you like? So I'm like, and I'm picking out what I like, right? So I'm like, pick it out. So I pick it out. And so,
and then she's going to try to play her brother.
No, I didn't try to play you. I was trying to just like spare you. So as a single mom, my funds were limited. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go next door and window shop over at Vicky's Secret. So I'm over at Victoria's Secret because I didn't want to be there in case his credit got denied. I didn't want to.
Such faith. Such faith.
I'm flying people across the country and stuff, and she worried about my credit. Really?
Well, Tori, I hope you weren't in there worrying about your credit too. Hey, make sure that card goes through. No, I'm just kidding.
I was intentional.
Right. So I go across to Victoria's Secret. I'm just kind of like.
Ain't buying nothing. And they like, you like these drawings?
She's like, I'm just shopping. I'm just looking.
I'm just looking.
So I come back over. He's sitting there. He's signing it. Everything's bagged up. So he's like, and I'm like, oh. And so he said, you want to put it on? I'm like, no, not right now. No, not right now. Because I was like, is this really happening, God? Right? So we leave there. So I call Sissy, the one that my girlfriend, right? So she's like, I'm like, right? So she's like, oh my God. Okay, so what are we doing? So he said, you want to go to Vegas? I'm like, no, don't want to go to Vegas. So
keep in mind, we didn't even plan a date.
Oh, okay.
We just said, let's get married.
Yeah. So she was like, let's do a meet and greet at your house and it'll be a surprise wedding. So I'm like, okay. So we set up my home, we set up everything, and
but that doesn't leave your friends. What about your friends and where you're from?
I'm from all over.
We doing our thing.
Terry was like, my friends mattered. We're gonna be right here. All right, let's do it.
Well, the main thing was
I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. He was only there for so many days, and so it's like he's like, I'm not leaving California without marrying you.
Oh, wait. Oh, so you went there, proposed, went the next day or so, and got a ring, and then you got married.
We got married that Saturday.
In that same trip.
In that same trip.
Oh, you were intentional.
Because his friend said, don't come back married. Right. And he said, you know what? I think she's the one I'm going to ask her. But then he was like, well, what the heck? We're just going to do it.
We're going to do the whole thing. I love that.
So, we got married that Saturday, decorated
and
my home.
Still together.
So you didn't tell anyone that they were coming to a wedding?
No, so it was like my closest girlfriend.
Right.
Okay.
And so, it wasn't just an intimate, it was very like, when you think paparazzi secret, it was like that. I wasn't trying to do the whole, I've already had to do it before.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had it, and he's saying, because he sings, so he's saying, "Hey Girl" by The Temptations, and that was our song. And I came down the stairs,
Oh, wow.
We told the friends, while I was upstairs getting dressed, he, along with the minister, now mind you, her husband, who's my pastor's armor bearer, he had done premarital counseling with us that Wednesday. Tori made brunch, and we did it just
did a one-day premarital counseling.
He was like, the pastor was flying colors. Y'all got this.
No, we were intentional. We were expedient.
I see. Right.
Yeah. Y'all was on fast forward.
Together, we would do our Bible study together over the phone long distance. I mean, we really would work it out. So that Saturday, she was upstairs helping me, and Dave was with you, and you broke the news to the guests as they were arriving. So he had told
them. Well, not as they were arriving. Everybody thought they were coming for a meet and greet to, meet me and all.
But the house was so decorated, they knew, like, this ain't just dinner, something's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
So we, they gave me the signal from upstairs, and so I said, hey guys, I know you guys are here to, for a meet and greet. However, I asked Terry to marry me, and she said yes. And guess what? We're doing it tonight.
And I was upstairs, I can hear them go, oh, you can hear the sound, right? So we got married. His best friend was on FaceTime, and his best man. And then he made
had the camera propped up.
Right.
On the altar. This makes
on the altar.
But he made he made shrimp etouffee, and it was all by candlelight. And we had music and dinner. It was very romantic. And then we broke down everything and played
wedding
cards.
Wedding reception, all that, all in one night.
Played cards till like 4 a.m. And we just had a good time. Then the next day I had to go, we went to church, and he had to leave his flight in the middle of, church. So he left, and I heard just crying on my daughter's shoulder. And then he called me and said, I'm coming back for Christmas. He came back for Christmas because we got married December 12th. And then he came back for Christmas, and then he cooked for the whole family. We both did, and had everybody over. And then he sent for me for New Year's. We saw each other in March, and then there was a huge going away party for me at our family restaurant in May, June. And then I flew to Maryland, lived there for a month, and then we moved to.
And we had a reception, kind of like a reception.
Oh yeah, we had a big thing. Yeah. He had a meet and greet for me in his town, and then we had a huge one with my family at our family restaurant back home.
No, it's huge.
It was bigger than yours.
He was made to say like that. But we had a meet and greet with his feet, and then we had a huge one.
It's just a lot of people. All right, so and then it's funny that you guys.
California.
What'd you say?
We invited California. It was huge.
Oh, there you
Wonderful.
These are like the pictures at my home from our wedding.
Look how young we look. Wow.
Yeah. Beautiful. And it's just amazing.
And in the past, the minister and my sister, that was the one that we.
Wow.
I had a Jerry curl and everything.
Well, at least you still have hair. Jason still has hair too. But at least you still a lot of people. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh, stoic. Look at those. Yeah.
What the heck are we doing?
I'm showing pictures too then.
Yeah. Oh, that is beautiful. And such a short period of, man, you guys really look like you're in love. Obviously, you still look like you're in love now.
Yeah. That's nice.
But
that's
man,
beautiful.
that is
beautiful.
being intentional, knowing what you want. Look at that. Just look at that.
But that just shows for people out there that have gone through those relationships that weren't the right one, right? And then they get to that point of saying, you know what, I'm just as you said, Terry, I'm done. Mm-hmm. Just letting them know when you're actually ready for that relationship, God will let it into your life. You have to be open and receptive, and as you said, intentional in what you want and what you want and what you're not willing to deal with. Because so often we are tired of waiting, so we settle. And then we end up back in the same situation as we, as we're telling our clients and we're talking with them as we do it. It's not understanding picking the right person the first time, and if that's the person, being able to work through and willing to make it what you want and not letting the outside world dictate what it should be.
Teri, you made a good point about going into a relationship and settling, right? And what we notice is that people actually, they don't grieve their previous relationship, right? And those who say shifts. So they don't grieve those relationships, and then they go into the next one carrying those, not just the baggage from the previous relationship, but from the previous relationship. And then that's why the walls are already up against each other. And they can't be as vulnerable as they want to be because there's always this happened to me last time. So they never grieve those relationships in the first place and become whole and get to know themselves. You have to do self and soul care for yourself, not just when you're coming out of a relationship, but continuously.
Continuously.
And that's what I was going to ask you when you said that you had just broken up with someone and came out of a relationship and saying that you were done, being that old baggage. Like, how did you all manage to, with your old relationships, be able to really heal from them, realize that we're not going to carry this into the next relationship? And this is.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
She'll say her part now.
So for me, I wasn't that vested. I just wasn't. So I was dating because I just wasn't. And so I wasn't wasting my time either.
Right.
So as much as he was like, hey, no, let's do this. But he was calling my daughter. Oh, could you talk to your mom? She's like, Mommy, call me. I'm like, I'm done.
Not me.
No.
Let's make this clear.
Against the brother, nothing against him, but the maturation, my maturation was much higher than his. There's a lot of men and women. It's about being mature. Right. And he wasn't there, obviously. And so, when you're in Christ, there's certain next levels that Christ is taking you to in your spirituality, in your walk, all of that. And this man, he wasn't even saved. So I knew. I was like, okay, no. So there wasn't, like I said, when I got to God, it's like, I'm trying to bring this brother to you. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want to. So I'm not going to push him, but I'm going to keep pushing.
Right.
So it wasn't about a boy when I was talking to God. It was just, I'm done because I'm not liking these pickings and I'm not messing with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so with him coming, it was like, now this is next level. This is iron sharpened. This is like-minded. Yeah. Yes, I can entertain this. You know what I mean? But let me share this with you. This is the clincher. So we told you about the Social Security. Mm-hmm. Obviously we got 4 letters in our name. We got the T's and the whole bit. But this was why, and I realized why.
And her last name, her initial was an S as well. So when I got to her place, I was like, oh, you don't even have to change your monograms on your towel. So they were already TS.
But this is the kicker. I called out to my family members. Remember in my closet?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I called out to my favorite uncle. Tory looks like my favorite uncle.
He sure
really does.
That's me on the left, on her left.
Wow. For sure.
That is why I wasn't afraid to fly to him. That is why everything, because I really believe that supernaturally something was going on in the heavens, because it was effortless. We were just, and you can call us Pollyanna, where it's like, y'all some real naive folks.
Not polyamorous.
No, right. Right. Let's not get that confused.
All right, so what was your story, Tory? What were you going to say?
So with me, I learned a lot coming out of a bad marriage. Right? Okay. And while I was in that marriage, I was fighting back. I was just like, she argued, I argued,
right.
Whatever was going on.
Tit for tat.
I was tit for tat with it. And then after we, not even divorced, but after we separated, things were bad. Then we got divorced, things were even worse. So wow. I learned a lot, and I honed my spirituality in. I started mentoring men. I was, head of the men's ministry and all. And I mean, I wasn't head of it. I was second in charge, but I was basically doing all the men's ministry. And I just learned how to, do all these things from a counseling perspective, not even knowing that's what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that, I went back to school and we started doing what we're doing now. And my wife had already had
20 years of behavioral health experience. So who knew this was all that?
So with me, I was that person that was like, man, don't come to me with your problem. I already got a problem of my own,
right?
I would never have thought I'd be providing therapy or doing counseling or anything like that. But anyway, I reinvented myself. I made myself whole. And I don't suggest people do that unless they're really, you have to do your work. But
you have to do some inner work.
Yeah. So I did that inner work. I knew who I was and whose I was and things. So you have to, and I was very secure in myself. So you have to know these things, right? Not from an ego standpoint, but from, we tell all our clients now, hey, look in the mirror. What did you contribute to
absolutely
what's going on in your marriage?
Even right now. Yep. Exactly. Right. And that's what we always push. The number one thing is self-love. Mm-hmm. Self-empowerment, self-development. Yep. If you're looking outside of yourself for the issues of the marriage, then that right there indicates that you're not looking at yourself, because it begins and ends with me. What am I contributing, either positive or negative?
Right. And that's why, Tina, I can look back at my previous marriage and go, yeah, I effed up right here.
Exactly.
And don't do that again.
Yeah, don't bring it over here.
And so I grieved that relationship, and then those other minor relationships I was in, from the time I divorced till the time I got remarried. I mean, it was just, they weren't anything serious.
Right.
One was, but they weren't really, no, they weren't serious. So I was kind of in my proving ground.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Testing things out, theories or whatnot, So by the time my wife and I, connected, I was already 100. And that's what we tell people too. You can't, people think it's 50-50, I'm bringing in, you have to be 100 coming into any relationship.
Right. Yeah. I tell people all the time is, 50% of anything is a F. That's failing. Yeah. So if you coming in half failing, then it's going to be a struggle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But people get caught up in the cliches. I'm bringing 50% to say you bring 50. We whole. We're 100. No.
I don't want half a person, right?
Yeah. The interesting thing is, like we said, from day one, we've been intentional. My husband and I, it morphed. The marriage ministry blew up, and it's like, it was the biggest ministry in the church, and it's like, now what do we do? Because the church is dissolved, which was very sad.
The church didn't dissolve.
Well, the marriage of the pastors did.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that was kind of a thing. And then COVID happened, so it was just kind of like right off into the sunset, since people weren't meeting in, at the sanctuary. But God had done many things with us, and he still has, to where we were in school, we were still continuing education, and all of these things where we haven't had a honeymoon. We haven't had a break.
We have hit the ground running
ever since the day.
But that makes it all worthwhile, though, right? I mean, it's so fulfilling, right?
But and like I say, by us not really having a break, we take our breaks. We intentionally take our date nights every
right.
Enjoy each other for sure. Yeah. We just got back from New Orleans just the other day. Yeah, I mean,
So when do you guys plan on taking your honeymoon?
Where or when?
When?
Can't answer that. Every time we plan, then something comes up, right?
Yeah.
So you
got to be intentional. You got to be intentional. You got to mark out that time.
But we're givers. So we had our honeymoon plan. We had a cruise and everything. We ended up doing a marriage conference, and we were like, okay, we need a draw here. So we forfeited our.
We gave it. We gave to some winners of our.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Yeah. You're going to continue to be blessed. So no big deal. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be greater later. So we're like, we're good. We take little trips here and there. We're starting to more so now because of the fact with COVID happening, we were able to start doing counseling, remotely. So now we can just go anytime we want to, where before we couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, COVID was a pain, but then it was a blessing.
It opened up a lot of eyes.
You have to find the blessing in the storm, right? Mm-hmm. The silver lining. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So is there anything else before we close out? So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you guys do together.
Right. Like start with the counseling and move forward.
Yeah. Well, just the private stuff. I mean, the public stuff, not the private stuff. Not the private stuff, the public stuff.
Seriously though, we literally
everything.
Go ahead.
Everything. Public speaking.
We're hosts on red carpet events. We do
everything. Guys. Everything.
Wonderful. As you said,
panels and stuff. I mean, interviews.
Different shows.
Tell us about the
radio show. We have our radio show.
Yep. Tell us about the radio show.
Love and Black with Tory and Teri. It's on Praise Houston.
92.1 and 102.1.
HD2. Yeah. We're on Saturday mornings at 10:30 a.m.
So tell me about the title, Love and Black. What exactly does that mean?
So first of all, sorry.
I'm like, okay, go ahead.
First of all, if anyone can listen to the show, watch the show, and we counsel anyone. So it's not just that it's love and black. The word black is a financial metaphor for keeping your love in the positive. Wow. Just like finances, you don't want to be in the red.
Red, exactly.
Be in the black. So that's what that's all about.
Right. Wonderful. Thanks for that. All right.
Diverse population, everybody is welcome. Yeah. And it's not just relationships. It's not just marriage and, when you think of relationships, romantic relationships, this can be family members, this can be friends. It's all, because love is love. It's keeping your love in the positive. With your children, mother-in-law, whatever. We counsel everyone. Yeah.
And our counseling business is called I Forever Will, right? And Christian Marriage Counseling. And my wife came up with both of those names.
Yeah, I was like, okay, can I tell a little bit? Yeah. But we had Love and Black. We had that name for about a good year and a half that we just had it under. We had a Facebook page for it that said coming soon, but we had not posted. We just wanted to save it. But we had it for a while before we actually really launched it, what it was going to be. Not knowing it was going to be the media side, where the I Forever Will is the clinical.
Yeah. When we got the television show, it was like, what are we going to call the television show? Love and Black.
We got a name. Okay, we got a name.
There we go. Yeah, it's already there.
Because our radio show was on Tuesday nights, and it was called Marriage Talk Tuesdays. So with Tory and Teri. So when the TV show came along, it was like, well, what do we do? Yeah, it was not going to be on Tuesdays. It was on Fridays. So we didn't want to say Friday. Marriage Talk Friday. So we were like, let's just use the name. Because we were actually saving this name
for something but we didn't know what.
Yeah.
Right. The name came first. That's right. It proceeded. All right. Well, we expect and we're sure we're going to have a whole bunch of more things coming from you guys in the future.
I'm sure, because they can't sit still.
That's right.
God keeps working through them.
Such a blessing to have you guys on.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So if you guys, we always, we try to end always with one last gem that you can give someone who's married, and just the biggest thing that you have learned. Just drop one gem that they can kind of work with.
Make love, not war.
Make love, not war. All
yes,
right.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Amen.
And
How about?
for me, is guys, be vulnerable with your mates. Yeah, that goes. It speaks volumes. I mean, we were always taught, "Hey, stop crying," or "Don't be coming in here with that," or whatnot. So we were always taught not to share our feelings or anything. Right. And then as soon as you get into a relationship, how come you don't talk to me? How come you don't open up to me? It's like we're confused. We don't.
Right.
So the paradigm shift.
Reverse the narrative. Exactly. Reverse it. Let's start opening up and talking. More communication. Wonderful. And with the communication.
Last but not least, I do want to add this. I'm sorry, Tina.
That's
your
right.
marriage is your child's classroom. So be very careful what you're modeling. Be really careful.
That's true.
Yes.
I think my kids.
I got one more. No,
all right, here we go. We gotta get. Okay, wait a minute, guy. Tit for tat. No. I'm on up.
We need one more.
All right, Tori, go ahead.
All right. Be careful what you say, because your mind actually believes what it hears your mouth say.
And
Absolutely.
your responsibility.
Oh, here you go.
You tried, Tori. All right, so what you gonna say after that? What we gonna say?
Keep going. We can keep going.
It's all blended. It's all good. It's like connection. She's
right.
finishing your sentence and your thought. There you go.
That's nice.
Wonderful. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up another episode. And as always, we're in it to win it.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Lovin' Beyond the I Do podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Legendary Relationship, or visit our website at legendaryrelationship.com. Till next time, remember to make every day count.